Okay, so for my lesson plan evaluation, I decided to take a lesson plan written by my field-based student from last semester. Um, she is currently in her student teaching semester right now, and she was my first field-based student. So I also uploaded the UDL checklist to OneNote as well, so I didn't know if maybe you guys wanted to look at that and then have that like on a side screen while you were viewing my screencast. So for the multiple intelligences that she used visual, spatial, verbal, linguistic, and bodily kinesthetic. And I'll just kind of go through and go over those first. So since my population of students, they have severe disabilities, for the ones that do not have visual issues, vision for them is definitely a learning method. And then all of them can hear just fine. We have no hearing problems, so there's lots of verbal linguistic input. And then for the bodily kinesthetic, they are encouraged to move as much as possible because of their physical disabilities. So Kelly tried to incorporate, reaching and things like that, which is very important for my students. The technology that she used was a smart board, speakers, iPad, tablet, and then she also used AAC devices, and then some communication apps on the iPad. We use Choice Board. Alright, so I'm just going to kind of go through her lesson here. I've highlighted some things. So as you can see over here, for multiple means of action, the students use AAC devices, switches, and the iPad. And then they also, I'm not sure if she has it on here. Maybe it's down farther. Okay, here we go. They will then move the correct picture to the correct spot on the smart board. So they are physically touching these items over here, and then they are physically moving items on the smart board as well. And just go back to my checklist, I had marked off, she provided options for perception, offer ways for customizing the display of information. For that 1.1 on the checklist, I really feel like she customizes the display of information. She's doing that through the smart board, and then she's also doing that through the iPad with the Choice Board app. And then if you go down to 2.5 on the checklist, and then 3, illustrate through multiple media, and then provide options for comprehension. For providing options for comprehension, I don't know if she really has it listed in here specifically. She probably has it under, I know she has it in here somewhere, for the accommodations for each student. A big thing for my population is making sure you're giving the kids, extra time. So if you look here, I'm not really sure why she has this listed under the anticipatory set, but this is where I was looking in terms of providing options for comprehension. This is kind of where, she has allow extra time. She's allowing for their, mind to process, repeated prompts, and partial physical prompts for some of the students that have more physical disabilities. And then if we want to move on to the multiple means of action and expression, let's look here at the guided practice. So I'm looking at the physical action and then vary the methods for response and navigation, and then optimize access to the tools and assistive technology. So if we look up here, this is where they are doing the physical action on the smart board, and here as well. Then you see here pressing a switch with 2 possible answers to the question. They'll have to press the correct option. This is again giving my students opportunities to have physical action. My kids can't like run or jump and things like that. So just with them reaching and then turning their heads is a big thing. So that is being provided here in the lesson that Kelly wrote. And then if I'm going over here to multiple means of engagement, I had checked off optimize relevance, value, and authenticity. And then minimize threats and distractions. And, oh, the last one. So under multiple means of engagement, 9.2, facilitate personal coping skills and strategies. That's going to be down here. She addresses tier 1 behaviors down here. She talks about positive consequences, negative consequences, very specific to each student. So I think that that's a really good thing. And this also ties into 7.3 under multiple means of engagement, minimizing threats and distractions. Minimizing, yes, threats and distractions. Basically, in my classroom, distractions come from other students who are exhibiting undesirable behaviors. So these are ways that she is trying to stop those interruptions and distractions from happening. All right. So overall, I think that Kelly did a really good job utilizing the UDL approach to this. I also like how she wrote this here. You know, you can see that she's talking about what physical things they're going to do, so I think that's a good thing. Here she has her prior knowledge of the learners listed, just to kind of remind her she's writing her lesson, what she needs to do to make sure that the design of the lesson plan is universal for all students. So yes, I think she did a really good job of, really considering each student and what they needed to be successful in the lesson. There's one more thing I wanted to go over. Oh, so during her modeling portion, so for the multiple means of representation, I like how she used her picture here. I thought that that was a good idea, so the students could get a good visual of that, and then, see her doing what she wanted them to do. So I think overall, even though this is not a UDL specific lesson template, and then she was, practicing for her ed TPA, so that's in there too. I think that she did a really good job, and I think that her mind, when she was writing this lesson plan, was more UDL focused. Like I said, for my population of students, they are all very, very different and all have different needs to be successful. So overall, I think that she did a really good job. I think that this was a good assignment to have, because it kind of made you reflect. I am not required to write lesson plans like this for my student population, and I just kind of wanted to use something that somebody else wrote. So I think that that was really eye-opening and made me think about some different things that I could do when I was teaching my kids to be more universal in the design of my lesson plans. So I think that it was a really good assignment to have this week.